welcome everyone to another episode of What Exit Jersey Stories. Your host Nick Franco, and with me, as always.
I'm Pete Riario.
And today I am excited because I have one of my favorite artists, uh, someone I also consider a friend, and all around awesome dude, Mr. Chris Campana. Yeah, don't look around, you buddy.
Yeah. I thought there was somebody else on. I was like, what's happening? Did you guys double book?
Yes.
Oh, no.
What's up?
Not
Oh.
much. How about yourself?
Nothing. I wasn't in the studio for a day, so I'm sitting in here, and whenever I get in here, I feel compelled to draw. It's like a guilt thing. Once I'm in here, I got to work, so I'm thinking about what to do once we're done.
Mm.
Oh, nice.
Got to doodle up something.
Cool. Well, for all those that don't know who Chris Campana is, well, I know for my background with you, it all started at New York Comic Con, I believe, 2012.
It might have been New York or Philly. I don't know.
New York, because I haven't been to the Philly one.
All right, then it was New York.
Mm-hmm.
And in small press.
Yeah, like I remember, like, well, was it small part? It was like that block area, I like, or what became the block. But
Yeah.
I think it was called like Small Press or something else at that
Yep.
time. And I remember swinging by, and it was like the stuff caught my eye, and then I don't know, for some odd reason, both of us mentioned Ming.
Yes.
Like, oh, he was just by here like a few minutes ago. I was like, oh, really? And
Yep.
one thing led to another, and then I bought, I don't know, what was it, three Kintara comics, and because I think that's what was out at that time, or was it
Probably.
fourth? I forget.
Well, there was a fourth, but I don't think we had it the first show, the first New York we did. No.
No, I think it was just the three, and then
Right.
next time I hit the fourth.
Yep.
Hmm.
And then I conned you into buying everything since.
Yeah, you're good at that.
That's right. It's part of the work.
But yeah, and then I'm trying to remember, Pete. Did I introduce you at, I think, what, 23?
I think it was like the second go round, right? At New York Comic Con, whatever, maybe the following year, I'd say. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Sometime soon thereafter, absolutely.
Yep.
It was kind of funny because the next time we met up was actually down in Asbury Park.
And the karaoke night.
You ran the karaoke night for the Asbury Park Comic Con for all those that were running, volunteering. I happened to be there, and this guy was running it, and like I did not put two and two together and realize it was Chris.
Mhm.
But it was my buddy Ron and I.
Mm-hmm.
Mike and Ming had asked us to run what they called white folky karaoke.
Oh yeah.
and
James Taylor.
Yeah, we did. We did. The only thing I really remember about that night is O'Halloran destroyed that Sabbath song. He killed it. Yeah, he's so good. And Ming and I sang Man Eater.
Oh right.
Which since every time we're at karaoke together is like one of our standards. Like we have to do Man Eater every time we're together at a karaoke.
Go-to.
Yeah, it's a go-to.
That's the Campana Chen.
That's right. That's right.
That has to be, everyone is clamoring for it any karaoke night.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that.
You know what? I really gotta, like, one of these days we actually have to, the three of us, get together and go for karaoke, because we are karaoke holics over the years, and it would just be really cool, like,
Absolutely.
And seeing you not necessarily behind the mic of the host, but the actual enjoying it along with everyone.
I'm all about it, and we'll watch duets with Huey Lewis and Gwyneth Paltrow before.
Yep.
Okay, there we go.
and then we'll go run game at karaoke's across New Jersey.
I know Ming loves karaoke, doesn't he, Nick?
Oh yeah.
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 Karaoke.
He's addicted to it. I can't remember one of the places he went. He was going like every Thursday night for a while, and I was mad at him for not telling me about it.
Oh wow. Down that way, or?
It's like he was hiding it from me.
His secret karaoke
Yeah,
spot. Yeah.
it's like without
Right.
me, come on, man.
Oh, Bane has to.
Nicholas Franco, me and you should definitely do karaoke next time. Why there's so many songs about rainbows.
What's on the other side?
It was uncanny, the resemblance there. You know.
Yes.
Insane.
Hi-yo, frog. No. But yeah, no, we definitely at some point have to get together and do that some night. I know you have a bit of a busy schedule with like con season coming like back into
Yes.
distance again. Like, how has it been since cons have started happening again? Like, what has it been for you?
Well, it's been on a personal side of it. It's been great to see people I haven't seen for over a year and a half. That's been nice. Some of the shows early on when the season started still required masks,
Right.
you know, for at least the vendors. And I'll tell you, it sounds stupid, but it's more difficult than you might think drawing face down with a mask on at a show. It's this really strange sort of thing to get used to.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
Once you start looking down and you're getting that edge of the mask sometimes.
Yeah, and you go to like this Zen mode where your breathing changes when you're drawing and you're trying to focus, and it's just a very different thing. But it's a minor inconvenience, and at least we're at shows being able to do it.
Mm.
Now that things are more relaxed, it's I don't know. I still think some people, and rightfully so, are nervous to come out.
Understood. Yeah.
You know, totally understandable. So it's good, and I'm happy to see it happening. I hope it continues, you know, safely and everybody's all right. But it hasn't reached the point of the craziness of working a show how it used to be.
Right.
You know, where you were busy nonstop, or
Yep.
you were seeing everyone, and you were drawing and making change and signing things and doing all that kind of stuff. So it's nice to start making money again.
Right.
Because that was a long year in some where there was nothing happening. But it's not back fully yet.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see like? Yeah, because like I know New York's going live this year, like at the Javits again, and you are one of the ones that will be in Artist Alley.
Right.
So like, what do you expect when like thinking about what New York Comic Con is going to be this year?
Well, I know it's sold out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to do the same thing as they had done with the Javits. I don't know what it looks like in there right now.
Yeah, I don't know, especially given what Javits was
right
during the heart of the pandemic. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, okay, you know, it's like the Javits itself. It's like, oh, how do you do that?
Well, you go back to what, you know, it was a couple of years ago in the alley when we were downstairs because they were doing the construction and everything. And I mean, you're shoulder to shoulder for
that was horrible.
You know, a lot of days. Yeah, and it wasn't. You know, it's weird. Like New York is one of my favorite shows because it's so busy, and business wise, you do really well. But it's very difficult from the aspect of wanting to see and getting to interact with your people, because you don't have the time in Artist Alley to really spend and you know, do that whole, you know, FaceTime with everyone.
Right.
So it's just it is what it is. It's a good busy show, and I love the people that run it. But it's so busy sometimes that it can be overwhelming.
Yeah,
I have no idea. I don't know what the occupancy is going to be for New York. Is it 100%? Have you heard? Is it full?
I don't know if it's going to be 100. I don't think they're running under 100% yet, and that's why also everything sold out as well. You know, like it sells out quickly as it is, but I think that's also why it sold out. They didn't do a general sale. They just did a they had a special be a repop MVP or whatever. So like you had to buy a chip and you could buy a ticket, and then there was like what I do is like, oh, okay, you've been coming to the shows, you get your pass code, and then you do the tickets, and that's all they did.
Really?
They said they're sold out, so they haven't mentioned anything about a general on sale yet.
It seems a little bit. I mean, I this again, conjecture right now with what's going on is dangerous. But when you see reports of they want mask mandates to possibly come back in the fall for schools or this and that, you hope that doesn't happen because obviously New York is in October.
Yep.
And yeah, right. I think right after that is Baltimore, and then I have another one right after that. So you hope if there is a mask mandate, it doesn't change people going to the show and what attendance could be. I have no idea. It's really hard right now to plan.
Yeah,
because there's expenses when it comes to. I mean, some shows I'm lucky and I get the table. You know, I'm comped the table, or you're comped the hotel, or you're comped travel, whatever it is. But there's other shows because of my status in the industry where I'm not a big name, but I have work where I think most people actually still pay for their tables in New York, to tell you the truth. But where it's New York's an expensive table.
Right. Yeah. In comparison to some of the other ones, I imagine like at least double, triple. I would think some of the other con prices for
now. Obviously, you're going to make a lot of money in New York at your show. So, but you have to pay for the table prior, and then for me, I don't do hotels since I'm close to it. I'll drive in or I'll bus in or whatever. So there's expenses associated with New York that you kind of have to incur before the show. So if you do that, and then something happens with attendance or whatever, and you still choose to go forward with the show, you could be in trouble. You don't really know. I know that Mike and everybody who we deal with on the artist side has nothing but everybody's best interest in mind and wants to run a safe, great show for all of us.
Right. And
they've been great about reaching out to us because they care about their creators. They care about the people who attend their shows, and they want us to do well. So they give us everything, that they're capable of to try to help us get to that show and make it a successful show. But it still feels like sometimes things are up in the air just because of what's going on in the world, and we have no idea how it's going to go.
I totally get it. And from my knowledge, I thought at this point, still for New York, the plan was still that attendees needed to mask. I thought it was still that, actually, even up to this point.
I didn't see. Now you might be right, and you might have received when I got the email that I was accepted into the alley after I was done doing several backflips down the hallway of the house.
The hallway to Artist Alley, right?
I just returned recently.
Yeah.
I just emailed Mike, and I was just like, Mike, I'm so thankful that I'm in the alley, because it's such a, getting the alley at Artist in New York is like I don't know, it feels good to be accepted into that alley.
Yeah.
Because there's so many great, talented people in there. To be a part of that is, it means something. So
validation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And as far as anything else in the email, if it said it, I didn't say it because I was still basking in the glow of acceptance of, being able to go to the show.
I'll check to see what else I've received as far as from like Reed Pop and that on the show and the rules.
Right.
But yeah, like I'll see if there's been any update.
Okay. Yeah, let me know. I'll go back and look, but honestly, if there's masks, there's masks. If this is the way we have to do it, I'm vaccinated, and I'll do whatever it takes to make sure everybody feels comfortable and safe.
Right.
That's paramount to me. As long as we can keep working and keep doing what we want to do, I don't want somebody who I don't know inadvertently getting sick because somebody did something they shouldn't do.
No.
Yeah.
Chris, have you done the San Diego Comic-Con at any point or no?
So here's a crazy story. The last time I did San Diego was 95, 96, maybe somewhere. Maybe I don't know if my son was born yet. My son was born in '97.
Mhm.
I just remember going to San Diego as a young artist because I was visiting my parents out in California, and I remember walking around my portfolio, and maybe you guys can help me out with the timeline here because Image Comics had just recently started.
Yeah, that
And
was 90. What was that?
Yeah, Nick would know.
93?
It might have been 90 because I want to say it was almost 94 that I was there, but it was 90, somewhere in that,
Yeah, it was in that, like early mid.
Yeah.
90s,
Yeah. And I'm online for portfolio reviews for Image Comics, literally shitting my pants because like
we have someone that has like clarified when Image started.
okay,
Mr. Nick Justice says it was 92.
92. Okay.
Yes.
Justice has been.
I love that last name.
Yep. Another one of our friends, and another great artist.
Nick, now you know why I can't respond to your next message if you send it to me because I'm live right now. We were just talking a couple of minutes ago. So anyway, I'm at Comic-Con, and I didn't really know anything about the industry. I was just like this young kid who thought if you drew comics, people were gonna buy it because your mom said you were good, So you're just like doing whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Should they donate $1 to you?
What's that?
Should they donate $1 to you? As your mom just recently.
Because we've all known him for a long time. Yeah, we got to tell that story, I guess, after so people understand the reference. But so I'm standing online waiting for this portfolio review, and I thought my stuff was good because you don't know. And the kid online next to me had his portfolio, and people start looking at it, and they start like, oh, wow. And I look at it, and I don't know who it is, but his stuff was killer. I mean, it looked like it belonged in a comic book now. And that's when I knew that mine didn't. But I still had to stay online because I needed to take the beating. And 2 spots before me, Rob Liefeld, the guys doing the reviews were Rob Liefeld and Eric Stevenson. And I watched Rob do a review. And I don't know what he said. I don't know if he said something bad or good or whatever. But the kid walked away and he was crying. Like he wanted it bad and he got a bad review, or whatever it was. Or maybe he was crying tears of joy. I have no idea, but I know the dude was bawling as he walked away.
I don't know. Maybe someone, kicked him on the way, leaving or something. Yeah.
Like nailed his grundle before he had walked away, and then it was over for him. But so when I got
says Chris Campana is God. Oh no, is a God.
Who said that?
Mr. Ming Chen.
Hey, Ming.
Ming would know.
Ming, karaoke soon, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I got my review, and it wasn't terrible, but I wasn't ready. And I walked away. And that led me to coming home and doing New York. And at New York, when I got my first portfolio review, I watched the guy throw away my samples right in front of me.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a Marvel Comics editor. And I showed him my stuff. I handed him, at the time you gave packets of your stuff, and you wrote your name and your address and all your contact info on the back of all your photocopies. And I handed it to him, and I turned away, and I went to turn back, and I shit you not, I turned back, and I watched him just go, just turn and drop him into the garbage can. And he didn't do it in front of me on purpose until I turned around, and it was in front of me. And that's when I realized it was a long road ahead.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the long road, how did you get into, art in the first place? What was your start? What were your influences? Is it just one day, a little thought bubble above your head?
That's right.
Were you always drawing as a child, or?
So you got my origin story?
Yes.
Yeah. To put it in Marvel terms.
Were you bitten by a radioactive pencil?
Does this mean I have there's some kind of arch nemesis around here that I haven't faced yet? There'll be some kind of epic battle that I'll deal with.
He lies in wait, Chris. He lies in wait.
As soon as I achieve any kind of real status, all of a sudden he's going to come out and say that I've always wronged him in some way. Honestly, I was the youngest of 4. All my brothers were a lot older than me. My closest brother to me was 7 years older. He really collected comic books. He was a big, big comic book guy.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to be like him. So I would steal his comics when I was younger. And in 81, 82, I started collecting He-Man figures.
Oh, hey, little
And
motion action there.
yeah, and then at the same time, I had discovered like Frazetta and the old Buscema Conans.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
So all of that stuff together, I started drawing it. And what I noticed as a kid was that was how I got attention, at least the right kind of attention. You know, besides
Right,
all the
it's been ways to get attention, but
besides all the shit you put when you're the youngest of four boys, you know, and they can't do anything to you because you're the baby. But that was it. I started drawing, and then I noticed that people were like, oh, come look at what Chris did, and it was sort of like my way into the conversation inside the house. You know, because this brother was good at that, this brother did this, and whatever. So that was my way in. It was the thing that I did that was different than everybody else who was inside the home.
got it.
And it turned into an addiction probably when I was 10 or 11, even on days that and I always tell this to people who come up to me at shows and say, you know, what is it? How do you do it? What, you know, whatever. I always say that in my mind, when they say, oh, you're so talented or this and that, although it's very nice to hear, I honestly think that what it is even on days that even to today, you know, on days when you're struggling and the art isn't happening, you still go back the next day and you do it. That to me was the quote unquote talent part of it, was the drive part of it, the / addiction part of it. I couldn't not do it if I tried. I did give it up for a while when my son was born, because you know you can't freelancing when you're a single parent. You might as well just throw yourself in a river. Like that's impossible. It's very, very challenging. But it was always there. It was always there. It was always what I wanted to do. Always what I knew I should be doing. So I guess the start was, I wanted attention, and my parents just weren't giving it to me.
Yeah.
Got it. Did you like? Was there like? I know you were saying like you were trying to, you know, draw like, you know, like the Frazetta, the bunch of Motu. You were trying to do those. Was there a particular thing that, okay, when you do this one thing, that's the thing that like caught everyone's eye? It's like, oh wait. Yeah, can you make me one? Can you draw this?
That's a really great question. I have to tell you, in all the years, no one's ever asked me that question, and that is an insanely good question. I don't have a particular thing, but I can remember having the Marvel Comics puzzle and like crossword book back in the day.
Yeah.
And on the inside cover, I had drawn Lion-O. For whatever reason, I was drawing like Thundercats.
The Marvel Universe at the time, right?
Yeah, I was drawing like, were they part of Star Comics maybe at the time? I have no idea. But I was drawing like Lion-O on the inside of the book, and my brother, who was 7 years older, had grabbed it because, you know, like I said, he was a comic book fan. And when he saw it, he actually thought it was good. And to get validation from the person who I wanted to be like, that was, you know, so I guess that was the piece.
Got it.
Kind of flipped everything. Yeah, I guess. I never thought about that. That's damn you.
Yeah.
I try to win question points along the way, you know, like doing pods. Come on, you've done pods as well. You know, like besides like being a guest, you've actually had your own pod.
Yeah, but you know, Ming, Ashley, and I never had guests on because we're too busy shit talking each other.
Those were fun pods. Those were really fun pods to listen to.
Behind the scenes, we have tried desperately to have a reunion show, but everybody's so busy. But I will say that we will have a Random Thoughts reunion show.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. Now, you see, I've mentioned to Ming that like at some point, like he's got to run like a shared universe, like podcast fest or something like that. And one of the attractions at that should be the return of Random Thoughts with Chris.
Thank you. You know what we should do, honestly? we should do like a Family Feud thing where several pods team up on each side.
Oh,
Ooh.
I love this idea already.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be awesome with like Ming as and Mike as the hosts?
Oh God. Yeah.
I sell comics versus.
Yeah, and we get up and we have to answer whatever pop trivia things, and there's like 10 best answers from the fan base.
Oh
And,
my
like,
God. That would be cool. That would.
You know,
Be cool. Yeah,
some of the different pods team up, like you guys team up with us from Random Thoughts, and then the other side is, some of the other pods, and it would just be a lot of fun.
that would be
Yes.
excellent. Yeah, it's like I was going to say. It's funny you mentioned that they just actually had the opening of the Smod Castle, Kevin's Smod
Yeah.
Castle, quick stop, and by the way, our friend Stuart Greenberg, Stu and It podcast. Definitely, you would actually have to be on our side.
What's up, Stu?
What's up, Stu?
Doing it.
Anyway, they just opened Smod Castle, and one of the shows was I Sell Comics with guest star Kev,
Right.
and it was basically pub trivia style.
Yeah, I took a beating on that, by the way, because I didn't see it. And then when I did the pod with Mike and Ming last week to promote the Kickstarter, Mike destroyed me for saying I had seen it because I was just trying to be supportive. I hadn't seen shit. So I kind of fell victim of knowing Mike for like a decade now and getting my ass kicked by his quick wit. So that was that was the wrong side of that blade can be dangerous.
Oh yes, very, very much so. And we know certain individuals that have been on the wrong side of that blade.
Yes. Oh yes, we do. Yes.
Now, Chris, are you good at fast money during Family Feud? At the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am. I like. You know what? If we could do that or like Pyramid, could you imagine Pyramid?
Oh God.
Oh, definitely.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Shoelaces, socks,
Yeah.
things that you were. What is it? How they?
Things on your feet.
Things on your feet, right? Yes.
Things my mother beat me with. No.
Yes, right. Coat hanger. Yeah.
Mommy dearest. It's Mommy dearest. That would be fun if we could talk them into somehow figuring out how to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
That would be awesome. Yeah, Ming, if you're still listening, listen to Chris.
Yeah.
When the time to pitch that is that when John Ross opens his brewery up there and
yes,
catch Ming after a couple drinks and convince him.
Yeah. that's true.
Right.
We gotta figure out a way to do that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh God, yeah. Now being that we've mentioned Ming and Mike, also, like, how did you actually get to know them? Like,
I don't remember.
Like, was it through the cons or?
Yeah, I think it was 2011.
Okay.
Wizard World Philly, I think, or 2012, somewhere in there, but I think they have a different story. I have to tell you, I don't really know. I just know that I knew them, and then it just grew from there. And then I was asked to be on Comic Book Men, and then I did that, and then we've been potting with them since the beginning.
You've been on I Sell Comics like how many times? Like several times.
What's that?
You've been on I Sell Comics like several times. Like,
oh yeah, I mean I maybe I'm like that Saturday Night Live thing where like Alec Baldwin has the most hosting.
Yes.
Like maybe I had the most appearances on I Sell Comics, which would be really cool.
or it's like if you remember in the old days, David Letterman, like like whenever they needed someone to fill in, they used to like Marv Albert would be there, and
Sandra Bernhardt.
And one episode they actually had, it's like do you ever do anything in case you need a guest host? And they had Marv Albert in like the glass case, like for like in case of fire, break glass. Marv Albert behind glass.
Or what's that joke that they used to do on Jimmy Kimmel where Matt Damon has been pushed to the next episode?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, we run out of time.
Yeah, we're running out of time.
And, yeah.
I've been on there a bit, and it's I don't know. We became friends. I remember one year after Philly, my buddy Ron and I went to. It might have been a trivia or something else that Mike and Ming were running across the street from the convention center, and I have photos of me Mike and the guys, and we're with like the entire cast of Pirates of the Caribbean cosplayers. And I don't know what happened that night. It got weird, and it from that point on, we were buddies.
Awesome.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. Yeah.
I have to tell you this, and you guys know this, but some people may not. I know that people thought that like Mike wasn't as big a comic book guy as he actually is. His street cred on comics is real. Like that dude really does know.
He is really
that's not TV magic. Like that dude knows his shit.
no.
Yeah.
Actually, it's kind of strange. Like at the beginning of the pandemic, and that when I'm trying to remember if they had done like a remote thing with ISO Comics, but there was something that happened, and Mike was saying it's like, oh, I have some. It was the graphic novel Green Lantern, like Hal Jordan Returns. And he's like, if anyone is interested in that, call. And I gave a call down to to the stash.
Right.
Mike's the only one there, and it's like, and we're talking about. It's like, oh yeah, I remember when I was like really little, when I first picked up like a comic book. One of them was Green Lantern. It was the one with he's fighting Tattooed Man. I think it was like 143, and then like Mike's like, no, 144. It's like, yes, okay, yeah. Yeah, it's no joke.
He's legit. He's and private.
Oh, hold on a second. We lost. Oh no, we lost Chris.
I'm back.
There he is.
There he is.
Back. I was getting a phone call on my phone.
Oh,
imagine that. I privately, Mike and Ming have both been just as friends, so supportive of my career and other stuff that's gone on in my life. They're just good dudes.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's true.
100% agree.
Just good dudes.
Yeah, I was going to say actually, in I think it was First World Part 2, like when that came out. I think isn't Mike's thing in the.
Yeah, there's a blurb of him blowing smoke at my ass, telling me how good it was. I'm actually liking the work. So,
but it's no joke. We do like the work.
Oh, well, thanks.
Definitely.
Actually, like one of the commissions that I love is still from First World. Arana, the Dragon. I love that piece.
Well, thanks, man. That ended up being, as you know, the second printing cover.
Yep.
That was.
I was so psyched when I was like, oh, he turned it into, that's what it looks like in color.
I thought so highly of that piece that it's actually one of the pieces featured in Imagine FX when I did the fantasy art section. When I appeared in Imagine FX, that piece is in there because I love that drawing. And I'd like it back.
So much.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that. And for those that don't know, like the creative process that artists go through. How many times did we talk to like, okay, what should it look like? Okay, what should the piece be? Okay, it's around. It's the dragon. Okay, wait, should the tail be around? No, should she just be standing in front? Should she be like we went, I don't know how many times back and forth to just to the concept of that piece, and then the work comes to actually make it real.
There's something to be said about that part of it. When you're asked to do a commission, obviously what you have in your head, I can't see. I can't. I don't have the same image. So working through it sometimes is the most challenging part of the piece, and the least challenging part is the actual drawing.
Really?
By that time, you're in your comfort zone. You're just laying pencil to paper. You're doing what you've been doing for years. But the hard part is when somebody comes up to you and says, "Well, I've got this idea for, this, and this," and I kind of equate it to when a tattoo artist says, "That's a great idea, but on skin it won't work."
Right.
There are certain things that you have in mind that when you tell an artist you want these things or ask them about a commission, that is completely impossible to do.
Right.
I know it makes sense in your head as an image, but when you put it on paper, perspective-wise, composition-wise, storytelling-wise, whatever, it doesn't work. So to get to that part when it makes sense to both of us and actually be able to lay it down on paper, and then it sometimes always changes a little bit because then your creative process goes, and when you see it finally in front of you, it's like when you're moving furniture in a house and you realize the couch doesn't look good on that wall, but you had to put it there first,
Right.
to
You got to
find
start
out.
somewhere with it.
Yeah. So the process is long. I remember I was going through that, and the tail ended up being really good through the bottom, going off frame and then coming back up, because circular composition was nice. It brought you around through the entire piece.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, on those notes, like how often does it happen that someone wants to commission something, and they give you a concept, and you have to tell them, yeah, I don't think it's going to work that way.
Often.
About this, or how many times does it happen where someone gives you something and it's like, I'm not touching that?
So
because I'm sure that comes up.
The first part of that is it happens a lot, and it's understandable, because if I went to somebody, to fix a car or to do whatever, I have no idea what I'm talking about. So if somebody said, like when I walk into a mechanic and I say it's making this noise, how the hell are we both wrapping our heads around the noise that it's making? He doesn't know she doesn't know what I'm talking about or whatever. And when somebody's talking to me about a piece, it's very much the same, where until we can get to, again, middle ground on what it is, it happens a lot. The other side of, I'm not going to do that. I've had a few where, whether it was naked Wolverine drinking milk out of a bottle with his claw through the gallon of milk so the milk's flowing all over his body, or
wow.
women having sex with pandas, or other great requests that I have received, or what's her name from Willy Wonka, the blueberry girl?
Oh, that Violet Beauregard.
Yep.
Yeah, or her in a bikini, swollen, with juices everywhere. Some of those requests.
Okay.
Wow.
By the way, I've told that story a million times. It is truthful, and if you Google Blueberry Girl, there are commissions of her that some artists have done that I thankfully turned down.
No, and you know what?
And the FBI will show up at your door the moment you search.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, there's been a few, but all fun. Some fun, some dangerous. So,
Yeah, I was going to say there are some subjects that are like just just too taboo to touch, and then there's the strange ones on the internet. Like look up sometime. What if Penny met a dinosaur? Like not Penny from Big Bang, but from Inspector Gadget.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, it's just been something that.
But Nick, how'd you come across that?
From listening to the Flophouse podcast.
Oh, okay.
They're good guys, but they saw that this was like a recurring question people had out there, and people have drawn that, like, what if Penny met a dinosaur?
I guess you could have fun in some ways, but I will tell you that I remember I was at Asbury Park Comic-Con when it was in the bowling alley.
Yes, yeah,
Asbury Lanes, was it?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
And that's when I got asked for the Blueberry Girl, and we had just started out. Mike, Ron, and myself had just started out doing shows again, and I said, "Well, we was like, we need the money, so I'll take the commission." And then I started drawing it, and about 20 minutes later, he came over and he goes, "Oh, can you make her boobs bigger?" And I was like, "This is getting weird." And then he came over again. He wanted the juices, and I said, "All right, I can't do it. Here's your money back, and here's the paper, and I also have to go scrub down because this is terrible."
Yeah.
And then a couple of hours later, he came to the table and he slammed down this piece of paper that had the drawing on it. He's like, "This is what I want." And I was like, "Well, that's terrifying." So
but I don't want to know what else goes on in that mind.
Yeah, just enjoy it, my friend, and scrub up because it's so.
But by the way, I have to say hi to my cousin Julie that actually is listening to the show. Hi, Julie.
Nice. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
But Chris, do you ever run into with fans at Comic-Con asking you to draw something like in the Marvel universe? Are there any copyright issues that come into play with that? And maybe you don't do that. Like we'll at a con, that is, I'm saying.
For cons, it's not there isn't a copyright issue because it's a one-off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it's not something I'm mass producing.
Right. Yeah. For a profit. Yeah. That's what I guess into the real you know,
Yeah,
the
but
dangerous territory, right? When you're profiting off of all the work.
well, I did have in Chicago at C2E2 a couple of years ago. I did have someone come up to me and threaten a C&D, a cease and desist.
Wow.
But the reason being, I was selling prints with Spidey on them, and a couple other Marvel characters, and it wasn't that I was selling the print. It was the fact that at the bottom of the print, it had my business's logo on it and my web address.
Oh.
Huh.
So what they were upset about is that I was misrepresenting the fact that people would consider I created that character because my
Okay.
web
Because your
address-
name.
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
So-
It's one thing to sign it. It's another thing to put the business logo and to
yeah.
associate. Yeah.
I was told, take the ones with all of that off your table, or you will be served a cease and desist.
Oof.
And I immediately, obviously, complied because I, as a freelance artist who, you know, works with companies, you don't want to burn a bridge when it comes to working with Marvel or so. But otherwise, I've never, you know, knock on wood, dealt with an issue of selling. There's like an unwritten, you know, blind eye turn to that kind of stuff when you're selling Spidey or Bats, and there's some creators who won't do it, and I totally respect that. I have a rule where I won't have a banner behind me that has any characters on it that I haven't worked on. That's just something I won't promote. I won't promote myself on a large scale, you know, that way. Or when a show asks me to come and attend it, I give them images of things that I've worked on, as opposed to just a piece of fan art or something like that. You know, I like to promote myself with, you know, things that I've had my hand in actually doing. But at my table, as an indie creator that has some professional credits, you know, on the mainstream side, there's something to be said about having a Spidey print at your table.
Cool.
And, you know, somebody comes over, they like the Spidey, and then all of a sudden they say, hey, what's First World about? What's, you know, Chosen about? You know, what's Parker Reef? What's this? What's that? And then that starts the conversation.
Yes.
You know, that's you got to work both sides of it.
It's basically the icebreaker into, hey, you know, the greater,
Sure.
the greater work.
Yeah.
And
Chris, did you have any like formal schooling for art? I mean, or it just kind of just came naturally and developed organically on your own?
When I was 19, I had the opportunity to attend an art school in New York, but the issue was the travel and everything. I just couldn't afford to do it. I did it for a really, really short period of time. And plus I was 19 and extremely arrogant and just thought I didn't need it.
Ooh.
You know, I had developed this insecure artist thing to the point of it just came out as very arrogant. And if you said anything derogatory about my work, you were clearly wrong. You know, so it was the money, but it was also, who are you to tell me what I'm good at? And they were the people who should be telling me what I was and wasn't good at, but I didn't want to hear it at that time. So I stopped. And I will tell you, when I came back into it, there was definitely, I would have had an easier time getting back to the level, you know, of getting hired if I had a better understanding of the fundamentals of some of the things and not just loving to draw.
Right.
You know, there were some things I knew just because I was good, you know, and it was the obsessive part, and I knew how to do things. But there were plenty of things that if I had had instruction, it would have been easier to get them into my work.
Got it.
So I do believe in instruction. I do believe in school. I don't believe you can teach somebody how to be an artist and how to be creative. I do believe you can teach somebody the rules that exist in the world of art.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Give them sort of, here's some fundamentals.
Yeah.
Now, what you do with it, that's on you. You know, if you have that drive, if you have that, you know, like, you know, desire, and that you're going to keep at it. And you know what, you may do something, and you know what, it may not happen too.
I know some very technically sound artists who are so technically sound that, in my opinion, and this isn't a knock, this is just my opinion, that their art sometimes lacks energy. Because they're so restricted by the rules of exactly how anatomy works, of exactly how this stuff works, that the art can sometimes seem stiff.
Got it.
And there's other artists who know the rules, but the style and how it allows them to break it gives their work something that sort of jumps off the page.
Right.
So there's a balance there. And I certainly, until I started getting regular work and until I was able to go full time, until I could say who I was and what I was doing, and I was accepted sort of in the community and into the industry, I definitely didn't trust my lines the way I do now.
Okay.
And have been able to turn that knowledge into a freedom of style where it makes sense. I wasn't as restricted by wanting acceptance and thinking I was good enough.
Got it.
Yeah, there's a balance there too.
Right.
Now, for those that are not familiar with your work, it's like we've talked about a lot, like of your, like prior, but like what are some of the things that you're most proud of what you have done, like of what you have created? Like again, just to rattle off, you've done Jaden.
Yeah,
that was your first self-promoted, right?
Yep. That's that, and actually the Jaden stuff is how I first got hired for my first professional gig way back in the day.
Now was that the storyboard?
That was Negative Burn with Caliber Comics.
Negative Burn. Okay, got it.
Oh.
And I know you have done work for other comics, also, like Not Your Own, and like
I've worked for IDW, Dynamite. I did do some stuff ghosting for DC. I've worked for Scout. I've worked for Source Point. I've worked for plenty of other publishers, but I haven't had that long run on a character that you really associate with. Wow, Chris had a really long run on Moon Knight or something like that. Then I know where Chris's work is from. I think of myself as the kind of guy who has done both creator owned and mainstream stuff, and is proud of that balance, but definitely in the industry is probably just thought of as more of an indie guy.
Okay.
Because I've done so much creative stuff, and because I've been this is going to sound like a brag, but it isn't, but because I've been nominated for stuff on the indie side, I think that just kind of puts me more on that category.
Okay. I see what you're saying. But at the same point, it doesn't being put into that category, it doesn't say hamstring you when it's like, oh, okay, well, if you are like there's opportunities in the industry, like some of the big guys or whatever, like it's actually, I would think, more of a how do you want to say more of a selling point, really. It's like, oh, okay, like, hey, this guy's winning awards at the industry, like at the independent level.
Mm-hmm.
That, hey, we should be looking at him. We should look at his work on that.
I think the industry, from my point of view, is very much like that. To be able to have any kind of foothold in it when I am mostly indie, and to be able to do this full time as mostly indie, is a testament to people like you. Having a great fan base and having people who have supported, the gig for like a decade now.
And what is your fan base called?
Companions.
The Companions.
They are my companions.
That's a great name.
I love it.
We did have fun coming up with that.
Oh yeah. You had a little like contest. It's like, okay, what should we call ourselves?
Yeah, something fun. But I like the thing about the fan base, and calling people fans has always been kind of weird to me. But it's cool to have people like you, and some of the people have been around since the beginning, because it's like you guys got my first mixtape. And then I got to sign a record deal, and then the album came out, and you guys like, yeah, but I've been listening to Chris since he made something in his basement, and that's kind of cool, because if I had to ever go back to just making stuff in my basement, you guys would still be listening. And and for a creator and an artist, there is nothing better than knowing you have some people like that around you, because it makes you continue to create. It's not always easy to create when nobody's looking.
Right.
That is the challenge of it, to trust the process and to trust your dream enough to do it when no one is paying you, and to do it when no one gives a shit is very challenging. So to have the Companions and to have the group that we have now, and to be able to have books like Parker Reef sell 5,000 to 6,000 copies without any store level help. There you go. Part 2 right there. To have that, and then to have the fan base get to the point where we vote where I'm nominated for a Ringo for writer and artist on something like that, and the industry to pay attention. It sounds like bullshit, but that's as much me as it is everybody else. There are days when I get up and get into the studio, I'm like, man, I just don't want to do this today. And I think about what the reaction will be if I post it. Who would like this? I kind of have an idea of, the really close long-term fans and friends who would dig it. And there are moments and times when I do stuff in my work day that is catered to those people. Mm-hmm. I want to bring something to those people who have supported me, and solely for them, because they deserve it. When I do stuff like, minor plug, when I have the Kickstarter going on right now for the sketchbook, and I do the fan art section in the back, that's a thank you to everyone, because I wouldn't have a sketchbook if people didn't request drawings.
Right. And
so,
like your prior sketchbooks that you've come out with. In fact, actually, my first commission was was one of the blank covers of one of said sketchbooks.
There you go.
I got Pete. Do you remember the cartoon back in the 80s, Thundar the Barbarian?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Ukla the Mock and Princess Ariel.
By the way, what the hell was Ukla? Does anybody ever discover what the mock is? Like, what is a mock?
I don't know.
Do we know what the hell a mock is? Nobody knows.
No.
Hey, maybe that's something to put out there. Hey, has anyone thought of jumping back into the mythology of Thundar? Can we go back and finally find out what the hell?
Yeah, finally solve the age-old question.
Yeah.
Where did the mocks originate from?
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about the mocks, also that horse he was riding too.
Yeah, that's true.
Mock horse or whatever.
Mock horse.
I have to plug my phone away. I got to do this for a second.
Oh no!
Funny.
High living in studio that I have my phone on my drafting table.
No problem. But, hey, my camera here, Chris, is also my phone.
There you go.
Like I found out there's like cool apps called Droid Cam. It's like, oh, cool. Okay, use my
that's
phone.
cool.
Have to buy another thing. Sure, sounds good.
That's awesome.
And you can now get Thundar the Barbarian complete series on Blu-ray.
What?
Okay. So yeah, I know where I have to go on and order.
Did it age
complete
well?
series.
Did it age well, or is it rough?
Oh God, get Nick.
I think what I've watched. I don't know. It was several years ago, back on Boomerang. Mm-hmm. They had some of the old Thundar episodes, and I don't know. I still dug it. I actually dug it. Yeah.
More than He-Man.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you the He-Man cartoon did not age well.
Oh no.
No, not
the originals. Yeah.
Yeah, the original. And I'm gonna get my ass kicked for this because everybody knows how big a Motu fan I am. But I was never. Motu started as action figure line with the mini comics and He-Man. There was no Prince Adam. There was none of that. There was, the Sword of Power was in 2 pieces, and He-Man got his power from his garments and this whole other thing. And he was a guy from a tribe, and there was no, it wasn't the way that, when Filmation did the cartoon, it wasn't anything like that. And I always loved that more.
Mm.
When that cartoon hit, I was like, who the hell is Prince Adam? Like, what are we doing right now? Like, why is this happening the way that this is happening? And
the whole Battle Cat cringer, it's like,
that's so painful. But obviously that show did and was a big part of my childhood, and I loved it for what it was. I wasn't critical of it like I am now. When I was a kid, it just was so different, and it was basically an action figure commercial for a 30-minute action figure commercial with some great stories. There was some really hard-hitting episodes, but for the most part, it was fluff. The 2000X Mike Young production He-Man cartoon was incredible. That cartoon was great, and the one that just came out the other day, I loved it. I know it's taken a beating from some of the fans. I thought it was fantastic.
I hate that stuff where it's like, okay, you're ruining my childhood. You're not doing it the way that I wanted you to do it. It's like, come on, enjoy it as what it is.
Yeah, go make your own He-Man cartoon then.
Exactly.
I said on Mike and Ming the other day, and I know Kevin's taking a beating for saying he doesn't like He-Man or he wasn't a fan of He-Man or whatever. And I know even on the episode that I was on, I was selling a He-Man statue, and Kevin and Ming were going back and forth about He-Man on when they do the cutaways and they're doing all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? The dude, look, he was older. He probably wasn't. I'm not a big like Turtles fan. I've worked on Turtles. They were fun. They were fun to work on.
You did the actual. It was the Turtles also Ghostbusters one, right?
That was my first cover, and then I did another one for City at War. But the thing is, I was never a Turtles fan.
Right.
When I got asked to do Turtles as a cover, I was like, wow, it's not my big fan base. And then I started drawing them, and I grew to love drawing them. And they're fun, and I'm into them now. I would imagine it was probably the same. Once he had a chance to sit down and really learn the lore and how cool it was, you can see there's passion all over that new show. I will say I understand people thinking, I'm not going to give anything away, but I understand the gripe about the show. But from my point of view, storytelling wise, arcs and energy and all that kind of stuff, I think it's incredible. I think it's absolutely incredible. You guys gotta walk with me. I gotta go let my dog in. Ready? Come on.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to meet JB.
Well, we gotta let him in. He's scratching at the back door.
Okay.
Yeah.
For all those
guys,
no.
come with me. Should I try change into like a sweater and change my shoes now after this?
Right. It's an adventure for everyone, especially
Where'd he go? He was just scratching at the door.
Huh.
Was it
He's on the roof. Just kidding.
Right?
Was it JB or was it a werewolf? No, wait.
He made a run for it. I don't know.
Do you have a gated yard?
Yeah.
JB, hold on. He's got the camera. No pictures, please. No pictures.
I don't know where he went. Oh, there he is. Hey, buddy.
Aw.
Hi, buddy. What are you doing? But the thing about come on, JB, we're mobile. The thing about cartoons and things from the 80s or from our childhoods and being made over and stuff like that, when they were made for us, they were made for kids.
Exactly.
And now, if you want them to be made again 40 years from now, they got to be made for the kids now.
Right.
Well, that's a great point.
That is a perfect point that a lot of people, I hate to say it, but like our age and that just don't get it. It's like, hey, it's like, that was my childhood. It's like, exactly, that was your childhood.
Yes.
And now this is for the next generation of children.
You need a balance, and I think the new show does that. Like that Thundercats Roar thing was garbage.
Oh yeah, on that was
that went too far. But a balance, but taking it into current time, and times have changed. Things are different now. There were things made in the 70s and 80s when some of the creative process wasn't allowed because of the time that it was. You know? It's changed. It's not woke. It's just get with the times.
Right. No,
things are different.
Read the comics back then. Read the comics now. You'll see the evolution, over time and what was, and here's another important thing. Read what was in the back, like the old Stan soapbox and things. These are the things that were happening at the time. Look at how it's reflected in the stories.
Yeah, it's true. I get it a lot at shows, and I'm sure you guys see it too. People complain about this or complain about that, and from a storytelling point of view, and I'm not the best writer in the world, and I haven't been involved in massive projects and that kind of stuff, but I have an understanding of how all that works. Stories evolve. Consequences have to take place. Character arcs have to happen.
Right.
And you have to allow
really quick.
What's that?
Or else it gets boring pretty quick.
Yeah, and you have and the old cartoon, to speak to He-Man, specifically, the old cartoon was throw somebody into a swamp, Skeletor's plan is foiled, and
He-Man!
Yeah, and it ends with, until next time. there's no consequences. You knew what was going to happen. For Kevin, honestly, and that creative team to have the balls to do something different when they knew they were going to take a beating, that's pretty cool.
I got it. And but just real quick, for those again that aren't familiar, please look up First World, look up The Adventures of Parker Reeve, look up Chosen. Please, like if you are at a con, please come to Chris's table and read, enjoy what he's created. Be a
hit my Kickstarter. I'm doing like a terrible part of actually plugging what I have going on. Like I do have a Kickstarter. I've got a Kickstarter going on now that I'm not even talking about because I'm just bullshitting.
No, and that's the funny thing. Like I have in like my notes, like, okay, be sure to go into the Kickstarter for shows slash the sketchbook.
Yeah, I think you asked me before, and we kind of got off the rails a little bit. But did you ask me something about like my most proud work?
Yes,
it's Parker Reeve. It's
yes,
definitely.
Yeah, you have 2 issues out, I think, of that now, right?
Yeah. Parker Reeve, for better or worse, is the thing I think I will always be known for. Even if I had a long run on Spidey or I had a long run on Batman or whatever, I think Parker Reeve, for what it is, for what it's meant to people, for the reason it originated, I think that will, and I'm proud of that it will always be the thing, the defining work of my career. I mean, think back to 2 years ago when we're at Terrificon and there's 5 people standing in front of my table talking about Parker Reeve, and each one of you didn't know the other.
Right.
And you're talking about your thought process on that book. And I remember sitting there just being like, wow, this book has people thinking. This book has people feeling, and all that kind of stuff. And that will always be, I mean, I want Chosen to be great. And I want whatever I work on after that to be, something that resonates with people. But I just think Parker Reeve, and I won't get into it too much. If people want to buy the book, they can go to chriscampana.art and they can buy it. Or you can Google me and see why the book exists. But which is a weird thing anyway. But I just think for some reason that book has just done what it does.
And thank you for that book, or those books, I should say. Yeah, it means a lot to us, and for those that have not checked it out, please do, and you can understand what we get from this book, and you may have similar feelings, and it may also, how do I want to say it, like for you it may be something else too, like there's a lot behind that, there's a lot that goes into that, and there's a lot people can get out of that, and I love what you've done with it too, and also that if you don't mind me promoting too, for those that would like to also donate to Tana's Reeve.
Yeah, so when everything happened, I decided I was going to do the nonprofit, and when Tana was young, her name was they called her Tanina. So, and Parker's middle name is Reeve. So we did taninasreeve.org. And what we do with that is a nonprofit. If you donate to taninasreeve.org, we use that money for baby showers. We use that money for toy drives. I've given funds out of that to GoFundMe's for people who have suffered loss or, something like that. We do not publicize everything we do with that because that's not what the thing is. Right. When people are in need of assistance or they suffer a great loss or a tragedy, the last thing I'm going to do is say, hey guys, look at the $1,000 we just gave somebody who had the worst day of their life. Right. That's not why we do it. We don't do it to get, but I do ask that people trust our process and know what we're doing is on the right side of it. As far as the book goes, I just got a message 2 days ago from someone who said that the book has allowed them to deal with something and has actually compelled them to make a book of their own to deal with some other stuff they have going on. And to be honest, that's pretty incredible that we can still connect that way.
Mm.
You know, not to get too much into the weeds on it, but as people, to be able to connect and to be able to be total strangers, and everybody goes through pain and death and tragedy and all that kind of stuff. Mine was tragic, but you know, that kind of stuff, how it impacted her family and my family and me and my kids and all that kind of stuff, that turned into a book, that turned into 2 books, that had an impact, that resonated with people, that I'm getting messages now, where's part 3, which I don't think I'm ever going to do, but I don't know. I'll never say never.
Right.
But yeah, I'm very, very proud of it. Comic book side, I'm really, really proud of Chosen. First World is good. Chosen is better because I've learned so much from First World.
Mm-hmm.
As far as a writer goes, I think Chosen is probably my best just comic book work that I've done.
Got it.
And issue 2 looks, I don't hate it yet, so that's
good.
That's a positive.
Always a plus.
That are out there, don't know Chris. Yeah, Chris is his biggest critic.
Oh yeah, well I think that's how you get better, right?
Time.
Is that how you get better, by just hating yourself while you're doing the whole creative process? This is shit. And then going on to the next one.
But it is amazing to watch your growth, to watch the progression from, again, for me, the Kantara days,
right,
through Parker Reef and Chosen. So
I appreciate that, man, because it's funny, because I feel like I owe everybody a refund for the first couple of years of commission requests, because it's when you first start out, you're like, man, I deserve a job, man, I deserve this, man, I deserve that. Why is that person getting the job and I'm not? I'm better than her, or I'm better than him, or whatever. And then, like, you look back and say, man, I wasn't better at all. Like, there's a reason why I wasn't getting gigs back then, because I wasn't very good. So
I've enjoyed it all. And
thank you, man. Thank you.
And thank you for letting us all be a part of the journey.
Of course.
Along the way. Now, if people want to contact you,
yes,
about your work, about this, go to the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are the ways they can find Chris Campana?
The best way, and what I respond to the most, is my Instagram.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just Campana Art. It's Camp ANAART. That's the best way to get me. I see the messages best there. Everything is Campana Art. Everything is campanaart@gmail.com for email. It's Campana Art for the Facebook group. It's all that. If they want to just go to the Kickstarter themselves, they can search my name, or the name of the Kickstarter is Sword and Sorcery and Saturday Morning Cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can back that. We have the Ken Lashley variant cover, which has some copies left. We're $90 away from the first stretch goal, which is 12,000, which is the limited keychain. I'm going to change up the stretch goals a little bit, because I just finished a variant cover myself, and we're going to do that one at 14 or 15K, and then at 18.
Wow.
If we hit 18, which we got 16 days left, it's kind of an outside chance at 18. What people have to remember about Kickstarter is all that money doesn't come to me. Like, all that money includes shipping. It includes paying everybody else who works on the book. It includes the publishing and the printing and the packaging and everything else, and promotion and buying all these things and booking shows that maybe I don't get the table at, and all that kind of stuff. I'm not making $12,000 right now off the Kickstarter. It's not like it's going in my pocket. That's not the way it works. And when I push stretch goals, it's not so I can put money in my pocket. Of course, you want to hit a stretch goal so you can relax for a second and really focus on the work. But I want to give bigger and better things as we go, because Kickstarters are basically me saying to you guys, give me your hard-earned money for the dream that I'm trying to achieve. And if you want to do that, you better be able to be willing to give everybody who donates the biggest and best part of you. Otherwise, you're an asshole. That's a flat out thing. If I'm not going to give you guys everything I can as you give me your hard-earned money, then I don't deserve any of it. Not to get preachy, but that's a fact.
No, I completely get that. And I've heard the Kickstarter horror stories too.
Sure.
And where also it's like, wait, this is what it is. Like that's it.
Yeah. I've run late on Kickstarter. I mean, COVID destroyed the Parker 2 Kickstarter. We had a hard time getting.
Oh no, I got you. A lot of things were back.
Yeah, it was a process. I never went into something that difficult as far as like just production wise. But right now, if we hit certain stretch goals, I've got something planned for the 18K that I think people will really, really, really like if we hit it. If not, I'm going to try to do it anyway.
Okay.
That doesn't mean don't back it, people, but I'm going to try to do it anyway because
we trust Chris. We trust.
Yeah, you know what's hard, man? What's difficult is I want to do all these things, but you have to start thinking to yourself, well, how do I ship all of this stuff? How do I make it cost effective on my end? If I'm going to charge you $10 shipping, but all of a sudden I'm doing, like with Parker, 1 and 2 weeks, statues. I took a beating on the shipping on those things.
Oh, I bet.
Because they didn't.
Gigantic statues, and I'm sure that wasn't cheap to be shipping.
No, well, the statues themselves were $3,800. The Parker 2 statues were $3,800. And then shipping them, because they're statues, so they don't fit in a comic book container.
No.
So you're taking a beating on shipping there. So business-wise, it wasn't the smartest decision, but I wanted to give everybody something. But, Kickstarter is great. If you want to back it, that's cool. If anybody listening, and I promise you'll dig what is in there, right?
Oh, we will.
Okay.
Most definitely.
And before we go, Pete, you got a quick game for us?
Yeah, I'll abbreviate it. So essentially, what we're doing is, this is film, Marvel film.
Oh no!
These New Jersey, if you get 0 right, don't even worry about it, because if it was a comic book quiz, maybe it'd be different. Right?
I'm so bad at comic book stuff. I have no street cred.
No, you don't have to.
but
you can draw. That's all that's needed.
Thank you.
Right. What's the title?
So,
here?
so essentially, Marvel characters and in New Jersey settings, and you have to. I'm going to give you like multiple choice.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
There's a chance. You don't have to. It's not like Jeopardy, or you need to know the answer.
So is that to form it in a question?
Yes, exactly. No, if you want to play along. All right. So here we go. In what fictional New Jersey town does Steve Rogers, Captain America, attend Camp Lehigh? Is it A, Arlen, B, Wheaton, or C, Blue Valley? Fictional New Jersey town.
Ooh.
So we got A, Arlen, B, Wheaton, C, Blue Valley.
B.
What do you think, Nick?
That's. I'm going to say Wheaton.
Okay. Well, guess what? You're both right.
It is.
You're both yes. Wheaton, New Jersey.
I get
which
a no
does not
prize.
exist.
Nick, we get no prizes.
Woohoo!
No prizes at all. Here's a bonus question. According to the Marvel map, where is Camp Lehigh? Is it in North Jersey, Central Jersey, or South Jersey?
I think it's in South Jersey.
I'm going to agree, because also in the movie, when he's trying to get into the army, he says he's from Paramus, New Jersey.
Yes. I also had that in my notes too.
But I would think that the camp would be south.
Well, you are both correct. South Jersey. Yeah, 2 for 2.
Man.
All right. Here's another one. As a child, Jessica Jones lived with her parents in what New Jersey borough? Was it A, Caldwell, B, Bernardsville, C, Bloomingdale?
Ooh.
Not the store.
Oh, well, then I refuse to answer.
You looked in housewares.
Wait, what was A?
All right, so A, Caldwell, B,
I'm gonna go
Bernardsville, C, Bloomingdale.
I go A.
Okay, you're going Caldwell, and
but I think it's C.
I'm going to go with C, Bloomingdale.
Chris on a roll here with the correct answer of A, Caldwell.
Nice.
See how you're completely redeeming yourself here with your earlier statement of not going to be good at this.
Here we go.
Okay, let's do one last one, Nick. The new Miss Marvel is the defender of her hometown. Name it. Is it A, Newark, B, Elizabeth, or C, Jersey City?
Isn't it Jersey City?
This is the new Miss Marvel. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, Kamala Khan comes from Jersey City.
And Nick coming from behind, but not enough to defeat Chris Campana, who has won with his answer of Jersey City.
Yes,
being correct. Perfect score.
We're all companions.
That's
Yes,
it.
right.
That's a clean sweep. I'm so proud of myself.
Oh, you should be. Yeah, put that on the top of like your website. You know, like winner of the Marvel television contest or
Change the
movie
title of the
contest.
Kickstarter to it. That's gonna be my
Yeah,
whole
right.
bio now.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, Chris,
Funny.
I really want to thank you for being our guest today.
Yes.
You were
Thank you.
our first guest on our old podcast, but that was also at New York Comic Con with you were sharing a table with the guy that wasn't that the guy that was with the papers at the end of the comic too? Was that the dude?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but
Wait, are
he
you
was
talking about back
hard.
in the day, Rashawn?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, thank you for being on our pod
What a
today.
Yeah,
good
thank
dude.
you,
He
Chris.
was, man. He was a good dude.
And
Thank you guys so much.
And for all those, please look up Chris, look up the great work he's done, the great work he's still doing, and
Thank you.
and we look forward to more to come. If you like our show, please like, subscribe, and if you want to talk to us, we're at what is it? What Exit Podcast at gmail.com. I always forget because I forget we have an email address.
Yep.
We're also Exit What on Twitter, which it would be good to post something, wouldn't it?
Twitter is weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's its own universe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
and Chris, we look forward to seeing you in the near future because we must have a karaoke night. So
Yes,
Absolutely.
make it happen.
So for What Exit Jersey Stories, I've been Nick Franco,
Yeah, I'm Pete Riario.
and our guest today has been
Chris Campana.
Campana. There we go.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.